All systems go. Clear for liftoff. Hello and welcome to this week's NASCAR Quick Hit here at SHIPIT Nation. I am Eric, also known as TheGame on Discord, and today we are going to be discussing the NASCAR Crown Jewel event known as the Southern 500, which is taking place at the Lady in Black, known as Darlington Raceway. And as always, please go ahead and hit that like button and please subscribe if you haven't already. It really does go a very long way in helping us with the YouTube algorithm. Before I go ahead and begin breaking down the Southern 500, let me mention football season.
Obviously, I'm a part of the SHIPIT Nation community. I enjoy the Discord. I get a lot of information out of the Discord, and then I use the site, so all the slate plans, slate info, all that, the DVP stuff. I would say join a site because they do help and you get all the information and it saves you so much time.
Football is back, baby, and boy, oh boy, are we over at SHIPIT Nation ready. But enough about football for now, and let's move on to the Southern 500. This week we are racing on Sunday evening, and the green flag is set for 6 o'clock Eastern time, and TV coverage is on the USA Network in the US, and of course, our good friends TSN5 in Canada. This week, we are once again back to targeting Dominator points as we have 367 laps on deck for Sunday evening's race, which equals out to 256.9 Dominator points. This race will either be a 2 Dominator or a 3 Dominator build. Practice this week. Actually, let me go ahead and switch from our graphic to my screen share. That would be helpful, right? Right? Hey, blank stone. Perfect. All right. Once again, we had practice last week at Daytona. We did not have practice, but we did have practice today at Darlington. And it was pretty much just a normal practice. We were back into 2 separate groups, the A group and the B group. The only real thing to note is Ricky Stenhouse had a self-spin and got some pretty decent damage, and that was in Group A. So some of Group A's times might be a little bit funky, but it's nothing I would worry or put too much thought into. Also, one thing to note before I get into and start talking about some of my favorite drivers on the slate, if you are unaware, Darlington is an extremely high tire wear racetrack. I mean, extremely high tire wear. Whoever can manage their tires the best will find themselves in victory lane on Sunday night. So tire wear is definitely the key to victory here at Darlington. All right, let me see here. I feel like I'm going through this opening part pretty quickly. That's not a bad thing or a good thing. That's just something I'm noticing. All right. Hey, some of my favorite drivers of the slate, right? First up would be my favorite Dominator play of the slate, and that is going to be Tyler Reddick of 2311 Racing. He is starting 6th. He is 10,500 on DraftKings, 13,500 on FanDuel, and he is the hottest driver in NASCAR right now. I think over the last 6 races, his average finish is 7th. That's pretty great, right? And Darlington absolutely fits his driving style to the T. He has led a pile of laps here at Darlington in the past, including leading 174 here at the spring race just this past spring and 90 laps in last year's edition of the Southern 500. Tyler Reddick, like I said, he is the hottest driver in the series right now, and this track absolutely suits him perfectly. If he can keep it underneath him and keep out of trouble on Sunday night, we should see him up there contending for a victory. Next up, pole sitter Bubba Wallace. Bubba is on the playoff bubble and is highly doubtful to make it into NASCAR's playoffs this season. That is, however, unless he manages to pull off a victory before the playoffs begin. And the only chance he has to do that is here at Darlington. And he started off that quest pretty well by putting it on the pole, right? So we have Tyler Reddick of 2311 starting 6th, and his teammate Bubba starting 1st. Bubba has to win to make the playoffs. Has to win. I take that back. I do think he can, in theory, make it on points, but it's like incredibly highly unlikely. He has to win to lock himself into the playoffs. Can he do it? That remains to be seen. But in the past, here at Darlington in the next gen era, the pole sitter has shown to be able to lead a decent amount of laps, like over 50 laps. And the pole sitter, as always, gets the best pit stall on a notoriously hard pit road. So is Bubba Wallace going to go out, lead every lap, win the race, clinch his way into the playoffs on Sunday night? That remains to be seen. But putting it on the pole is a pretty damn good start. Next up, and real quick about Bubba, he's cheap. 7,700. Can't beat it. Next up on DraftKings is Brad Keselowski. Friends, I'm not going to get cute here with my Brad Keselowski Darlington analysis. Instead, I'm just going to read off his Darlington Next Gen era finishes here at Darlington. Brad's Darlington finishes have been 1st, 6th, 4th, 7th, and 34th. And that 34th place finish is only due to an accident with Kyle Busch back at the spring 2022 race. So once again, 1st, 6th, 4th, 7th. And he's only $9,800. I am all over Brad Keselowski on Sunday. And last, but most certainly not least, my bargain bin play of the week. And a little spoiler alert, it was absolutely going to be Carson Hocevar. It was always going to be Carson Hocevar. As soon as pricing released, I was like, ooh, 6K Carson Hocevar. That worked for bargain play of the week. And then he went and he put it right on the outside pole, which I absolutely was not expecting. And while I am quite the fan of young Hocevar, and I will have plenty of exposure in large field GPPs to Hocevar, I just can't recommend him as my bargain bin play of the week with all those just killers starting around him, like Larson, Reddick, Blaney, etc. So I had to pivot. And maybe surprising to some, I'm going to stick with the Spire Motorsports camp. No, I'm not picking Corey LaJoy. Instead, I'm going to roll the dice this week on Zane Smith. Zane Smith, 5,400 on DraftKings, 3K on FanDuel. Starts 26th. I do wish he was starting a little bit further back to maximize place differential points. But over the past 6 races, Zane's average finish has been 17th. Over those same 6 races, Kyle Larson has an average finish of 19th. So Zane Smith technically has a better average finish over these past 6 races than Kyle Larson. Now, do I expect Zane Smith to be battling for the victory on Sunday night? Absolutely not. But if he could give us positive place differential at only $5,400, that's pretty good. That's all we need, right? So, Zane, I'm going to give you a shot. And before I wrap up, I have one more note here to say about Zane. Zane, another thing about Zane I want to mention is that his career is currently in limbo. Last week, 2 weeks ago, Trackhouse Racing announced that it is going to be releasing Zane Smith from his contract in 2025, so SVG can have that full-time Cup ride in 2025. And there have also been reports that Ford is none too pleased with Zane either, with how he left their camp not too many years ago. So you have a lame duck driver with an unknown future who is trending upward. I will take it for my bargain bin play of the week. So Zane Smith, bargain bin play of the week. And I do believe that's all I got. Yeah, this was a fairly uneventful video. Most of my videos go like 15, 16, 17 minutes, but tonight's is only like 13, 14. So cool. So once again, the drivers we highlighted were Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, and spoke a lot about Carson Hocevar, but the one we highlighted the most there was Zane Smith. So that is all I have for this evening. As always, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to hit me up on Discord. And as always, let's ship it.